Good evening, Patrick here, 8 Questions With. And it's a stormy Thursday here in southeastern Michigan. Yeah, it started out nice and sunny, then slowly got hazy, and then we had a thunderstorm just sit over us for about an hour and make a lot of racket. But it's cleared out. It's cleared out, so right now it's hazy outside, but it rained a little bit, but looks nice now. Um, And of course, it would rain now. Our town has a once a year festival called Liberty Fest, and it's actually held in the park right by the library that I go to every day, every Tuesday. Hey, Kalel, how are you, sir? Um, and it's a big community event. They get thousands of people through a 3 day weekend, and but I don't know how that's going to work out. Let's see. Yeah, the Amityville murders. That's right. So we're going to talk to her about that. Uh, no, I have not seen that the squirrel video. No. Let's see. How many Amityville movies have I seen? I've seen a few. Um, the ones I really liked, as far as Amityville goes, uh, I really liked the Dawn. I thought that was really, really strong and Unspoken. Uh, Man, Unspoken is really good. Hey, Stephen, how are you? How are you? Both Stevens are here. There's Stephen Chang is here, and oh, I thought I saw the other Stephen, but nope, not yet. Hey, Eden, how are you? Glad you're here. So our guest tonight is the lovely actress and singer and animal activist Jon Marie Mack. Her professional name is John Mack, but we're calling her Jon Marie for today. And she'll be here in about 15 minutes or so. And wow, talk about I do my best to bring you guys like the very best, and once in a while I'll even go way beyond that. So Jon Marie Mack is just extraordinary. She's like I said, she is God. It's one of those things. It sounds like a broken record, but what can't she do? Um, she she can ride horses. She can sing. She's a music engineer. She can run it. She can. You want to record an album? She can record it. She can record it for you. She's a studio engineer. She has her own band. Um, she what else? She's a animal activist. She's on several different boards for animals, raising awareness of it. She's filming a documentary short about the plight of the manatees down in Florida. Um, let's see, and she still acts, and she's done a lot of fun movies. She's very much her resume is almost very much like yesterday's guest was, and Monday and Tuesday's guest, Elise Mueller on Tuesday and Carrie Ann Fleming yesterday. A lot of genre credits. If you, because we're all mostly horror fans here, right? Horror, science fiction. We and John has plenty of those credits. I have seen her in a lot of her films, and it's a lot of all those movies that I've watched her in. It's one of the reasons why I really wanted to talk to her. It's one of the reasons why she made my list, my Grail list, because she's done so many fun movies that it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun conversation, for sure. Hey, Stephen, how are you? Glad you're here. Feel free to share us out. Thank you again for your support yesterday for Carrie Ann Fleming. If you did not see that interview, yeah, you need to roll over and check that out. Let's see. Um, Aaron's new movie script. Okay, I better go down and see who's there. I have a feeling. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Samantha. Okay. Hi, Samantha. Glad you're here. You should be able to you should be able to, where's that thing at where you have to acknowledge the StreamYard to let your name come up. But glad you're here, Samantha. That was let's see. Amity. Yeah, have I seen yeah, I haven't seen the Amityville one, but I will. I've seen I've seen a lot of Amityville movies. I've seen the silly ones like Amityville in Space, and I've also seen Amityville Island. For God's sake, get out of the water. Let's see. And yes, see, John has also been appeared in the Saw franchise. She was in Saw 4. Um, yeah, this actually been my second guest I've talked to that's did a Saw movie. Karen Cleach did a Saw appearance as well. Yeah, that's interesting. That's right. Um, that's a lot of fun. Um, I'll have to look that up for sure, Samantha, for sure. Um, yeah, yesterday's show was a lot of fun too. Of course, Tuesday was extraordinarily fun as well with Elise Muller Devereaux. I started watching her film Risk Factor. Boy, she's pretty. She's salty. She's that's a fun movie. It sort of has a vibe of the '90s back there. So it's gonna be a lot of action and some daring do's, probably some martial arts involved in it. Um, and of course, we talked to Carrie Ann yesterday, and she also has just an extraordinary resume. Um, and and she was fun to talk to. So I expect no less than tonight with Jon Marie. Okay, now yeah, I think a lot of people here love the Saw franchise. Now, what I like about this, and we're going to talk a lot about this, is it's funny 'cause I've been talking to seems like I've been talking lately to people about westerns. Now, a lot of people know about the westerns. We watch westerns, but they're not being made very much. It goes through a cycle, I think. One year you might get 3 or 4 westerns made, and then the next year you might not get nothing made. So it's almost like a fringe. It's like a fringe genre now. It's pretty rare to see a good western being made. And John's in a new movie called Escape from Rio Bravo or Taken from Rio Bravo, and that is a sequel to another movie that they made, Gunfight at Rio Bravo, and that stars a Russian gentleman named Andrew Nevinsky. He's not bad. He's not a bad actor. His accent's not that bad. You can understand him. He's a throwback as well to the '90s. He'd be right at home in the '90s. But he's actually a pretty good actor and a good action star too. And they went out there and they made a Gunfight at Rio Bravo. I'm obviously that was directed by Joe Cornette, and I actually watched that. I watched the first one. It was on Tubi, and I watched the first Western, and I liked it quite a bit. And so, yeah, I just hope it comes back. Um, I believe they will, Kelly. I think the Western will come back. Um, I know that it was funny because Cynthia Rothrock was raising money for a she was raising money for a new Western, and the funny thing was like she's also in this one as well. She also is in the sequel to Gunfight at Rio Bravo. She's in Taken from Rio Bravo. So I'm thinking that they must have got some really good response to it, as far as reaction goes, because they're making another Western. It's not tied to Rio Bravo, but who cares, right? It's just another Western movie. And one of our former guests was Douglas Vermean. He got called. He got a part in the film. He's playing a part in the film, and and Cynthia's new movie. He got a role in the new movie with Cynthia. So and then John is sharing scenes with. I believe she's going to be sharing scenes with Cynthia Rothrock. We'll ask her when she gets here. Hey Echo, how are you? How are you? Um, yeah. Oh, please do. Uh, yeah, I love the Western. I mean, my channel is named after a Western. Have Cheetah Will View is obviously from Have Gun Will Travel, which starred Richard Boone and aired in the 50s. Um, Depending on who you ask, I personally feel it was the best Western ever made. Um, I definitely think so. It's Yeah, Have Gun Will Travel was extraordinary, well written, and well ahead of his time on some subjects. Um, Richard Boone was just he was a magnificent actor. Truly, he was. Um, uh, let's see. When you first saw my channel, you expected the cheetah or like a stuffed cheetah or a toy monkey. No, no one ever expects to see the real cheetah. They're always thinking it's a cat. And it's like, no, he's really not a cat. He's part cat. I mean, he's part cat, but he's also part cheetah. He's not a regular cheetah. I mean, I've never said that he's a full-blown cheetah, but he does have cheetah blood in him. I can rest assured about that. Um, so people people are a little surprised. They're a little surprised when all of a sudden you pull out and um, there's Paladin right there, and yeah, he really is what he is. Uh, yeah. Uh, I know everybody calls me Cheetah. They call me Cheetah, even though Paladin is the Cheetah, but I get called Cheetah all the time, which is fine. We both answer it to it. You can call us anything you want, but just don't call us late for dinner. Um, so we're getting geared up after our interview with Jon Marie tonight. We will be back here on Sunday the 18th at 1 p.m. as we are welcoming in the legendary filmmaker Yui Bowl will be here with us. Dr. Yui Bowl will be with us, and currently watching a documentary called Raging Bull, and wow. I've said this before, but I like his movies. I've always have. I enjoyed Alone in the Dark. I enjoyed The Final Storm. I enjoyed Blood Rain. I've enjoyed In the Name of the King, Dungeon Siege 2. Um, I mean, I've enjoyed them. I've enjoyed them all. I haven't seen Postal or Rampage yet. I suppose I should do that. I suppose I should do that soon. Um, but yeah, I can't wait to talk to Yui. He'll be here Sunday at 1 o'clock. I'll be joined by special co-host, filmmaker Mimi Hatchery, and maybe one of the friendly men might come out and hang out with us. I don't. It might be James or Jonas or maybe even Ant, whoever I can get. Um, so yeah, I'm a fan of his movies. Um, I was reading some of I saw on the video on the documentary. The documentary is like 13 years old, but Jesus Christ, oh, I mean, they show some of the people that made videos that were like against Yui. I'm telling you, they look like the mob that invaded the Capitol on January 6th. They look like, oh, I was just sitting going like, man, I would not be talking if I was you. I would not want my face on TV at all if you're gonna attack the man like that. I mean, these guys look. But good news. Well, we'll talk a little bit about criticism too and reviews and stuff like that. But our guest is here, our supremely talented and lovely guest, a Grail guest. I cannot wait to talk to her. I know you guys want to see her too. Hi, Anthony. How are you? Let's go get her. Uh, please help me welcome Jon Marie Mack. Here we go. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. Glad you are here. I'm honored to meet you. I
Oh,
have been a fan of yours since forever.
oh my gosh, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Um, so much fun. You have such a fun career.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, we're most of us here are horror and science fiction fans. There's some of us that are, we watch the dramas too. Um, but we like the horror and science fiction and everything else, and westerns. We like westerns. As you notice down the crawl there, I'm hyping up Taken from Rio Bravo. Um, I saw the first movie,
Hmm. Yes.
Gunfight at Rio Bravo. How exciting is it for you? Was this your first Western that you did?
Yeah, actually this was my first Western and I've always been a huge fan of Westerns. So it was like a dream come true for me. I love playing. I love the whole period pieces and dramas and I love the West, the old West. So it was amazing. And now I want to do more after that. It was just so
Yeah.
much fun.
I guess the cool thing about it was that you don't need a stunt rider now, do you?
No, no,
No,
no.
you're
I
fine
grew
at home on a horse.
Yes, yes. I literally grew up riding from the time I was a little girl. So I love being on the farm and with the horses. So for me, it's like natural. I love it.
Now you were I already know some of this, but I was going to mention this because you were born in Rochester, Michigan.
Yes.
I'm not that far away from there.
Oh, where are you?
I am in Canton.
Yes, you're close. Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm about an hour away from Rochester. Me and my wife, we would go to the big mall out there, the outlet mall,
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
Great Lakes Crossing, and
Yes.
and then we go to Clarkston, and then we go to Rochester. Um, do you still have family and relatives out in Michigan? Do you ever get to come back?
I do have family out there, and you know what? I actually been talking about that recently. It's been way too long. I actually would love to come back. I was supposed to be out there for a project, and that got delayed. So I might just go for a visit because it's been forever, and I haven't seen so many of my friends and family members in years. So I would love to go back.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was going to ask you if you had ever done the Motor City Comic Con.
No, no, not yet, not yet.
Yeah. Well, hopefully soon. Do you do conventions?
Actually going to be starting to. I've not done one yet. I've attended them, but I think after these next couple of projects that I just completed this year, they're very con friendly, so to speak. So I think it would be a good start for that. Both projects. One's science fiction and one's horror, so it's right at home.
You have punched the golden ticket. In fact, both you and Carrie Ann Fleming, who we talked to yesterday, and Elise Muller Devereaux, who we talked with on Tuesday, all three of you are golden. You guys could walk inside any convention that you want, and they would be so happy to have you.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, I mean, there's no question about that. It's like, hey, you got a seat? You got a table? Oh, yes, please, please come and hang out with us. Um, I believe that you would have. I think you would have a lot of fun at conventions.
I would love to. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of all of that. I feel like when I go there, I turn into a little kid again because I love sci-fi. I love horror. I love seeing all the costumes and the makeup and just the puppetry. And I just love going to conventions just to see that side of it itself. It's amazing. There's so many creative people there and just showing off all their work and it's great. It's so much fun. So I would love to. And in fact, Elise and I have been friends for years. So it'd be fun to go to a con and hang out with her too. It'd be really great.
She's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Oh my
absolutely.
God, I don't know if this could, I don't know if we could handle that. You and Elise on the same table.
Yeah,
That might be superstar overload. Yeah, I'm thinking about that right now, and it's just like, man, you guys would just tear it up.
that would be a
Uh, and
blast.
and you guys have so many fun movies that you guys. I mean, any real fan, not just a casual fan, but any true fan would just be like, "Holy crow, really? They're here?" I mean, because I've done that. I've gone to conventions and like, "Oh wow, that person showed up for this. I'm so there." Um,
Absolutely.
let me go to the chat real quick. I'm going to be good this time, boys and girls, because I was so involved with our guest yesterday that I was sort of like got target fixated, because she was so fun. Let me go ahead and say hello to everybody in the chat. Our friend Echo Zero is here. Stephen Chang is here. You know Stephen, of course.
And yeah.
And let's see who else is here with us today. Let's see. Our good friend Kal Daly is here. So glad he's here, and he's not mad at me. Wait a minute, he's texting all sorts of messages, so he might be mad at me still. Uh, Michigan, you got your start in Michigan. Wow, I mean, the big farm, big farm. Your grandparents had a big farm. Now, is that still? Do you still have that in the family?
No, I wish my parents sold that off when my grandmother passed away, and I was graduating from high school. But we had it in our family for many generations, and no, it was a beautiful way to grow up, and in fact, it's something I would love to go back to at some point, having my own type of farm because I love it.
Yes, and like I mentioned to other people here, that you are a huge animal activist, which I put down in the descriptions. I just didn't put down that you were just an actress. I put down that you're an animal activist too because I love it. Because as you can tell, I'm a huge cat guy, and then I found out that you were on several boards, including one that Seth MacFarlane's mother started, or
Yes,
he started in the name of his mother
yeah,
in honor of his mother, a cat rescue.
yeah.
Um, do you still work in and do you still find time to work in the rescue?
Yeah, I mean, as much as I can, I I I love it because I'm starting my own rescue. Let me preface that by saying, so I am involved as much as I can, helping out for many years, and I'm always there when they need me. I've done a lot of work with Perry's Place, which is Seth's mother's rescue for cats. And for many years, I've done work with them and work with several rescues. And so now I'm kind of branching off and going to be starting my own, I think this year, separately from that. So yeah, I'm always working and helping out where I can.
That's a really yeah, because I mean when you're as busy as you are, I mean because you're juggling, your personal life, you got your band plus you are very much a demand working actor. Um, so time is. Do you ever just feel like there's just not enough time in the day?
Always, every day,
Okay.
I feel like that. Yeah, every
Uh,
day, especially
yeah,
late. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
and,
I
and,
love being busy. I love it. So yeah,
and you would think it'd be a little like with the writer strike going on. You think, okay, I have a little bit of downtime to breathe a little bit, but
yeah.
that's not necessarily true, though, is it?
No, no. I think now more than ever, a lot of people are having to be creative and think of ways to, keep going during this time. And it's challenging because we don't know. None of us know how long it's going to stretch on for, of course. So that's the frustration. But yeah, no, always staying busy and just trying to create new projects. I've got several in development. I directed a short film the beginning of the year, which I'm now in post production on. So working on that, and that's going to be going to the festivals. And that's also tied to animal rescue as well. So it's a fantasy drama film, but it also has animal rescue elements in it. So yeah, there's never enough hours in the day for sure. I mean, we just wrapped another film, and I'm executive producing on that. So between producing and acting and the music and stuff, there's just a lot going on. But I love it.
We have more new people that came inside the chat here. Our good friend Gizmo's here. He says hello. He
Hello.
says, hey, my man, how is the interview business going? We're cracking. It's crack-a-lacking. Uh, the John Mack gets respect just with acting with a film with Nicolas Cage. Kill Chain, yeah. Nicolas Cage, man, he's having a renaissance. So stoked to see that. Let's see. Yes, she also acted with Ryan Quatain, uh, who who, that's an awesome guy right there. Um,
Amazingly talented, very talented.
um, he did one of my very favorite movies. It's on my like top 50 favorite. He did a movie called Knights of Badassdom with Peter Dinklage.
Oh, not I have to see that. I have to
Oh
see that.
my God. Joe Lynch directed that.
Nice. Oh my gosh, I have to see it. Yeah,
Oh my, it's so awesome.
that's so
Uh,
cool.
yes, Steven mentioned that, and the Knights of Badassdom, yes. Dead Silence. All right.
Loved it.
Silence. And then, come on, Gizmo. Come on. We can't. That's not a negative, dude. That's a positive. Are you kidding me? That's one of the reasons why she's here. He says Mac also starred in Stormageddon. That's a minus. That's not true. I I love no. That's why she's here. She
That's funny.
uh, 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 Gizmo's a fine film director in his own right. He's done a lot of fine films, including one called Christmas Blood.
Oh,
Yeah, so he's a director, so he's definitely just poking it at you a little bit, but I'm sure he'd love to do a project with you. Let's see. Yes. That's another thing too. You have done just about everything. Um, I watched Super Tanker
oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes.
I
Yes.
watched that on Tubi, and oh my God, it was sad. It was like at the end, and you were just
Yeah.
you play a wife, and you had an emotional scene there. Do you get and most of your roles always known more as a you know quite honestly you're more like a doctor or a detective or a
Mhm.
federal agent. I mean you're a badass in most of your roles. Was it hard for you to when you got that role is it hard for you to do emotional roles? Or if there is involved, like an emotional grieving or crying. Is it hard for you to get there?
No, not at all. Actually, I'm one of these people. I have a lot of emotion in me, so it's kind of cathartic for me to let it out in my work, which is great. And I love those kind of roles. Honestly, I love that. Where you can really dig down in that type of thing and make the audience feel something. Those are the roles I actually prefer to do. The project I just did, I got to do a lot of emotion, and even though the genre is horror, it was nice to be able to have something that I feel like the audience will really feel for this character. So yeah, very emotional stuff. But to me, that's what I love about acting is getting to that meat of that the role and the emotion of the character.
Um, yeah, now what's the can you mention the name of the movie that you've done or you're talking about?
I can say one of them. One of them I can't speak about until well, it has a working title. I can tell you the working title, but the official title is A Dead Giveaway because it's a take on a classic horror franchise, but it's a new take. So we're calling right now "Here Comes the Sun," and that's the one I just finished. And that's going to be coming out, I believe, in December. So I think in October, I'm going to be allowed to mention the actual title and talk about it a bit more. But I think you'll really dig it because it's a great director for the genre, and the cast we have is amazing, amazing. So many great cameos and so much. I'm over the moon about this one. I'm really excited about this one. But one I can mention is called Andromeda Wars, and that I just we finished that in April, and that's now in post-production, and that's a sci-fi. And that was really interesting because it was the first time I worked fully with a prosthetic mask for the whole shoot. So I play not a human. I'm
Okay.
yeah, not a human. But I think that one's gonna turn out really well. I'm so excited about that because it's very cool.
Now, have you played aliens before in your career? Have you played like a monster or a vampire or anything else like that? Have
I
you
played
had
a vampire. Yes, I have played a vampire before.
so
Yes.
how do you like the makeup process? I mean, is that something that you're at home with?
Yeah, yeah, I actually find it really fun. I mean, I love special effects makeup because I mean, I know you have to have a lot of patience with it, but I love the whole transformation of it. And yes, it can be tedious, putting it on, taking it off, and whatnot, working through it. But as an actor, it was a nice challenge for me to get to work through the latex and all the masks and everything. It was really fun for me to find the character through that, which I feel like I did. And once I locked into that, she became something else. She was like her own thing. So that was really, it was like the first time I'd done that, but it was so much fun. I would love to do it again. Absolutely.
I noticed that in Bravo, they had a couple of still shots. You look totally at home. I think you lose yourself in your characters, right? I mean, you become your characters
Yeah.
more than the average person, I think, because every time I've seen you, John, you just I believe if you come out there and say I'm Detective Smith or I'm Agent Jones, I'm believing it. I'm going like, I bet she did that. I bet she did that before she started acting because you had that persona down so pat. It's like, yeah, I'm believing that.
Thank you.
Um,
That's great.
uh, now after you graduated high school in Michigan and then you went to New York.
Yes. Yep.
Um, how was that experience? I mean, was it a culture shock for you when you went there? How old were you when you went there, or did you go with classmates or family, or were you on your own?
I literally was completely on my own. As soon as I graduated high school in Michigan, I got a scholarship and I knew where I wanted to go. I wanted to go to NYU because it was one of the, still one of the best theater and film schools in the world, not just the country. It's phenomenal. And, yeah, it was a culture shock, but I was ready for it. And I was 17 at the time and I just was ready just to explore and get out there. And I love Michigan. I'm glad I grew up there. I wouldn't change that for the world. But you can see one of my cats crawling across my lap. You're going to see cats throughout here. Yeah. But I literally, I feel like I took to it pretty quickly, just such a vast difference from where I grew up to New York City. But no, it was great. It was a great time in New York. New York was really so much fun to live then at the time. It was just a wonderful place. So yeah, no, I'm really glad I got to do that because I think it broadened my horizons. It taught me a lot. I did a lot of theater there, which is great. Great way to learn. Great way to as an actor to cut your teeth and be able to do theater. Because I mean, film and theater are completely different, but as an actor, it's good to have the skill set to do theater because you can pretty much do anything if you can do good theater. If you're experienced with that.
Do you still do theater?
I do sometimes. Yeah, absolutely. I have done throughout my career. I've done plays here and there and stuff like that, which I love to do. I love to do performances. I've done improv and plays. So yeah, occasionally I do. When it's a good project or when it's a good play, I would love to do it. I love to do it.
Uh, have you ever been on stage? I've never asked this question, but I got to ask it now, and you're the first one I'll ask it. Have you ever been doing a play like that where someone has just lost their shit and just started laughing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that's happened to a lot of actors when the giggles, as we call them. Sometimes people just get giddy and, or they forget their line or something like that. And, you kind of have to play it off or think quickly on your feet, especially in front of a live audience. That's always, that's always fun. So yeah, I've definitely had those experiences and yeah, sometimes it's tough. Sometimes it's tough.
Because I'm just thinking about all that and going like, imagine having a scene or something like that, or even a comedy or whatnot, and all of a sudden the person you're like, okay, you're supposed to laugh a little bit here, and all of a sudden, but they just crack up and they start losing it. Like, okay, is there like a universal sign for like, I've lost it, I'm laughing my ass off, get me off the stage? I mean, sort of, do they like wave a hanky or something like I'm done? Um, close the curtain.
Yeah.
Um,
If it gets really bad, yeah, maybe intermission time.
Yeah, right. Um, yeah, because have you ever had that happen to you? I mean, you ever had like a nervous reaction or somebody has said something that you just found funny and you just couldn't stop?
No, not so much on stage. I think it's happened to me more on film sets. Like sometimes that happens, and luckily we can just cut the camera, uh, and have our moment of laughter. It's happened to me more on film sets, but funny things can happen on film sets, as anyone who's been on one knows that sometimes just the silliest things happen, and especially when you're working for long days, everybody kind of gets a little, after a certain amount of time they get a little giddy or something. So yeah, those things can happen a lot on film sets for sure. It's a good way to relieve stress too. I think laughter is always really great. It's a great way.
I was gonna say, please don't take the camera, don't turn the camera because that's where we get our special. That's where we get our special features from the blooper reel.
Yeah, exactly. No, I love that stuff. I love that. I always say keep all of that because it's great.
Uh, yeah, it seems like less and less people are putting bloopers on the back, and we're like, you
Yeah,
got to keep putting them on because we love that sort of thing as fans.
definitely.
Um,
Definitely.
so you did a lot of plays in New York,
Mhm.
and was college easy for you? Was university easy for you, or did you just take to it naturally, without
Yeah,
thinking you did?
yeah. I mean, I it was interesting. My mother, I grew up. My mother was a drama teacher, speech teacher, and English teacher. So I kind of grew up with a mother who was constantly stressing the importance of education, and was very supportive of me and my goals and whatever I wanted to do with going to school and pursuing acting and all that. So I was lucky that way. But I enjoyed going to college. I enjoyed studying. I enjoyed the challenges. There definitely were challenges. I mean, like it was just a different world. And when you go to an art school like that, they immerse you completely. You're singing, you're dancing, you're doing improv, you're doing everything, scene study. So it was literally every day was chock full of different things like that. So you had to be on it and showing up to your classes on time and whatnot. But it was great. I mean, it's a wonderful school, and we had some pretty amazing people that have attended the school. So I had great teachers there.
Yeah, yeah, I think your background really set you up for success, though. I mean, your mother being a drama teacher and in speech. I mean, that was just. I mean, and she supported you. Um, and then you got into modeling too. And would you describe your mom like a. I mean, not. Would you describe her more like a helicopter mom, like a mama bear type, where she watched out for you every step of the way, or did she let you fly a little bit on your own?
She was very protective of me, but she let me fly on my own. I think, which was great because I think she grew up with very strict parents, and she actually wanted to go to New York and be a stage actress. She wanted to do Broadway, but she didn't pursue that because her family was very old school, like old school Polish family, and they just did not want their daughter leaving. So my mother, she let me fly on my own, let me make my mistakes, but she was always there for me. And just a great support. It was kind of like always having a cheerleader in your corner, which now looking back, I was like, wow, I was so blessed to have that, because I know a lot of people unfortunately don't have that support. So I think it
Right.
helped a great deal, because it's not an easy career, not an easy business, which everyone will tell you. And you just have to really have self-belief, and you have to keep going no matter what. And so having somebody in your family on your side and in your corner, it makes the world of difference.
I think we're gonna let me go to the chat real quick here and catch up. I see that Katie's here. Hi, Katie. How are you? Hopefully, you're feeling better today. Let's see. People are talking to each other. Oh, we have our first question. We have our very first question for you from our good friend North Coast Railroad. Do you have a favorite book? Uh, do you have a favorite book? How about this? Do you have a favorite book, and who's your favorite author uh, uh, to read?
Oh my gosh. It's the weirdest thing. This book I read, and I also have a big passion for like supernatural science and things like that. So I think honestly, my favorite book is it's called The Holographic Universe. I think the author's Michael Talbot. I believe he passed away, but it's a great book that was, I think it was published in the 90s. And I just, throughout the years, I've read that book because it really makes your mind, it really makes you think, and other realities, other dimensions, other things that are possible. So I love that book for some reason, and it's always a book that I read. But I love so many books. And I went through an Anne Rice stage where I loved Anne Rice, because I love the the Gothic horror and things like that. So I think for a long time she was definitely my favorite author for a while. But I was read Dean Koontz and like some like mystery writers like that, which I really got into author wise. So I think those two really stand out for me.
Yeah, my favorite Kuntz book is Lightning.
Nice, yeah.
Yes, man, I keep on thinking, man, that would make a great movie. How come they're not making a movie yet? How come no one's got the rights to that? Who would you cast in that movie? How come it's not out? Why do we have to get another Stephen King book? How come we can't get one of those?
I know. No, we should have. We should. His books are all like so creative, and I don't know why. Maybe that is something with the rights. So it could be that because it's
Uh,
shocking they haven't been made into films.
because I watched the Odd Thomas movie that came out in 2013,
Hmm.
and with the late Anton Yelchin, and that was a really good movie.
Yeah.
That movie was really good, real
Yes.
good. I enjoyed that. I was like, ah. So do you take books on when you go on set? Do you like if you know you're gonna be there for a while?
Mhm.
Do actors take things like that, like knitting or playing cards or reading books, or is it all about being sharp and focused and waiting for your next scene?
Well, I think it's a combination of both because there's like when you're on a location, sometimes there's downtime. There's days you work and days you don't work. So it's I always have a book with me whenever I go. I love to take books and just any type of I love esoteric knowledge, and so I have a lot of books like that that I take with me. It kind of just makes my mind expand while I'm working because sometimes I obviously study the script, but once you get that, I don't want to overstudy it. I want to get more of the sense of the character. So I do my due diligence in preparing for the role. But then when I'm on the set, I know that I've done enough preparation and I know enough that I'm comfortable to do it when I step on set, of course, going over the lines. But I always like to have a book or something with me along with that.
Wow. Our good friend Jonathan just came in there from the cinema squad. Has come in and says you're fire. I agree with you, Jonathan. She definitely is fire. Um, so what was your now? Did you get your first speaking role? Did you get your first film role while you were in New York, or was that after you went to L.A.? And
It was
why didn't you stay? Did you want you didn't want to stay in New York at the time, right? Was because
it
that was New York. New York has that Broadway reputation and you
right.
wanted to do film. So
Yeah.
you still okay.
Yeah, no, I got my first I got my first speaking role when I came to LA. And I was doing like bit parts, small things like that. I think, just like background work and just to get my SAG card, just to get my start, just to get experiences on set. And I worked on a lot of sets, which was great because I got to, aside from the theatrical training which I had in New York, I wanted to get into film because I've always been a huge, lover of film. And a big film buff. My father owned back in the day when they had video stores. When I was a little kid, he had a video store. So I grew up
Oh,
watching foreign films and all kinds of films that most kids, I guess, my age weren't exposed to. So I loved film since I can remember. So I thought LA is the place. The weather is nice. It's beautiful. It's California. It's the California dream. So I had to give it a shot. And I came out here and I loved it. I mean, I got so much experience, working on set and just doing the small stuff at the beginning, which I think is great for any actor because it just gets you used to being on set. And especially, on bigger films, you get to watch how everything's done. And so I'm really glad I did that for sure. But yeah, I was out here in California where I started really getting that experience.
how does it work when you do a film and you have a day worth of shooting? Like, okay, we're going to use you on Monday, John, but Tuesday you don't have any scenes. So what does the actor usually do on even they're on set, they're in the movie, but there's no scenes with them on the next day. What do actors do? Are they required to stay on the location, or if you wanted to take a drive up the coast or go walking, are you allowed to do that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of the times on days off, like when I was shooting last fall in Maryland, I took a day to explore some of the nearby little towns. I love doing that. In fact, when I film anything on location, I love to get the local scenery and kind of have a day. Say I'm not needed on set, I'll go just check it out, walk around town, just see what it's about. I love doing that. That's part of my favorite thing about going to locations is exploring new places, which I've not been to yet. So yeah, we're usually allowed. We have to stay in the vicinity, but if we're there on location, we can go into town and explore things.
Our friend Jonathan has a question for you.
Mhm.
It says, "Hello, Patrick and John. Uh,
Hello.
between theater and film, which is more challenging to you? And do you prefer one over the other?" So, I mean, I think you prefer film over theater, right?
I mean, yeah. Well, I love, okay, I guess you could say yes. I love theater because I mean, it's literally, I grew up since I was 5 years old doing theater. So I love the excitement. The thing I love about theater, the excitement and the thrill of having an audience right there, getting an immediate reaction, which, you know, you can't do in film. That's the one thing I think a lot of actors that do both, they go back to the theater because they miss that experience of the energy of the audience, you know, because it's so immediate and there's nothing like it. You just, it's the gratification of knowing when your performance is affecting them and they're really there. It's a vibe thing. You guys are, you know, it's like the audience and the actor, like we all, it's a mutual thing, exchange. So I think that's why I love theater. But film, I love the magic of movie making. I mean, it's all so fascinating. Each film is different. Each process of each making each film is different. And the people you get to meet on the crew are, you know, it's always wonderful. It's kind of like we form a little family for that amount of time because we're all there for one common goal to get the film done. And you meet the most amazing people. So I love that part of filmmaking, just being in the trenches, you know, literally like we have to get this done. And it's just, to me, the magic of that. You don't get the immediate gratification of having the audience there. And that's a little frustrating because sometimes you film something and it doesn't come out for like a year and a half or so. So there's a delayed reaction and you start like, oh gosh, I don't know what's going to end up they're going to keep in the film, how it's going to play out. So that part is kind of like, oh, it's a little, you know, but other than that, I love putting together a film from start to finish, how everything's just crafted. I just think it's amazing. The whole process is amazing.
I can see why you would go back to the theater for that, because you're right. I mean, you know, I mean, it means important. It's important. I mean, when you do a critical scene, and then the crew will stand there and clap and applaud, and like that's amazing. I mean, it's great, but you're right. I mean, it's sort of nice to be able to do something in the moment and get that a reaction. It's like, okay, I guess it's like almost like a boost of confidence, so to speak. Like, okay, I can do this. I'm still able to touch people, because sometimes you're right. Sometimes you don't know if you're going to touch anybody by a performance in the film or not, because you know it's a whole year out,
Yeah.
and you just sort of cross your fingers and hope that hope. Um, do you look at dailies when after you do a scene or a day's worth of shooting? Do you ever request to watch them? Are actors allowed to watch the dailies just to see how they do?
I think sometimes it depends on the director, because some directors are like, no, no, no. And some directors are very, you know, open. They'll show you the scene, maybe like bits of it after you shot it. So you kind of have a sense of at least what one of the cameras did, or when, you know, kind of where they got you. Like on the last two projects I did, actually, we saw little glimpses. But I haven't had a director like, oh, here's the dailies. And, you know, I respect that. That's their process. They want to go back with it and go through it. And, you know, as a director, I get that. You want to go through it yourself. But I've been on set with a lot of them will, like, while you're shooting, something came across really wonderfully and they'll say, hey, you know, check it out, just a quick playback. And which is really cool, because then you're like, okay, we're on the right track, or let's change this or something like that. But it gives you a sense of whether something's working or not, which is great.
Okay, we have another question. This is great. I love it when they have questions like this. I do. This is great. Um, Interesting answer. This is also from Jonathan. Also, if tomorrow was his last day on Earth and he had to watch one of your performances, which film would you tell me to watch?
Oh, something that's been released yet? Or yeah, that's the thing, because the two films, especially the last one I did, I'm like, oh, I'm so excited about that. But something that I'd say was released, I'm still proud of, and I don't know if that many people have seen it. Was on Amazon Prime, but I love Kill Chain. I love the way it came out. I love that whole vibe. I thought Nick and I's scenes together were really nice. I'm really proud of that one. Yeah, I'd say
How
that one.
how how is he to work with? It's not that long ago, and he seems to be recovering his old swagger. You know, like his performances are more nuanced and more
Yep.
grounded. They're not as manic as he was when he was out there.
Right.
He was struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
What was it? Was he? What was it like working with him? Uh,
He's amazing. I mean, he really is truly a professional, seasoned veteran actor. I mean, you get on set with him and he treats everybody with respect and, equally. And he's lovely that way. And, but yeah, he was great. I mean, before we even shot the scenes together, he was like, well, what do you want to do? Does this work with me? Does this work for you? And things like that. And just sat down with me. And I thought, yeah, this is something you wouldn't expect that because he's done so many films. I mean, his, his career's gone forever. I grew up watching him, so literally, it was an incredible moment, to have that time with him where it was just like two actors working together, and he knew the entire script, not just his own dialogue. He knew the entire script. And the director was joking because he knows it better than I do, because he's that with it. He showed up ready to go. So it was wonderful.
I'm glad. I'm glad. I think we're all glad that. I think we're all glad that he's coming. He's had that. The Renaissance. He's
Yeah.
had like two or three, but this
Mhm.
one seems to be lasted. He's had so many good movies, like the last 3 or 4 years, that it's just been solid. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like I wouldn't necessarily call it a comeback per se, but I mean, I don't know if this is the right thing to say or not, but it almost seems like, he had his personal demons,
Yeah.
and it seems like that someone has taken him aside and said, you need to get a little help here, because you don't want to throw everything away, and it seems like he's just come out and he's just been everything he's been doing lately has just been dynamite.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I'm so happy for him. It's so well deserved. I mean, he's such a talented artist, and there's no one like him. He's very unique. That's what's great about him. His characters. He's played so many diverse roles and just everything you can imagine. But he always brings such a great energy to it, and he's just got his own thing going on, which I think is great.
let's see. More questions here. Let's see. Steven's saying favorite movie for him, Kill Chain or Mandrake. Hard toss up for that one. Um,
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. Well, you know what? I have my personal favorites of yours. What is you'll probably just clown on me when I tell you, but I love this movie, and I love some of the movies that you've done too.
Oh,
But uh, uh, okay, I'm gonna say it. Try not to laugh at me. I'm being serious about here because like I said, I love these movies. But I saw you in Mongolian Death Worm.
oh my gosh, yes. Oh my gosh, yeah.
I love creature features. I'm a kaiju fan, so hell yes. I also enjoyed. I was bummed out what happened. Um, but I saw you on Fire Twister too with Castor Van Dien.
Yes. Yes, that was fun.
Uh, but see, what I'm saying? This is so exciting for me because it's like so because you get to work with a lot of fun actors. And you did a Lava Lantra.
Yeah, yeah,
I
1
mean,
and 2, I did both of them. Yeah,
we talk about those movies here. We love those movies.
it's great.
Are you surprised when people come up there and instead of like talking to you about some of your serious roles, like you did I'm Dorothy Dandridge
Mhm.
with Halle Berry? That was a very serious movie and very it was very well received, and it was a very serious film. Um, but you've done a lot of fun, just fun, fan friendly movies. Um, are you happy with the choices you made? I mean, are you glad that you did some of these movies that are people just love, or would you have rather been more like a prestige actor?
To be honest with you, like now that I look back on it, I'm grateful for those because I think those films are fun too. I mean, they're so much fun to make, that's for sure. And yeah, I've worked with some incredibly, interesting people and bigger than life personas and everything. And I mean, I have no shame in that because that's where I learned a lot. And I got started in, a lot of those films are, they're made on lower budgets, but you know what? You work so hard, you work so quickly, and you make something that people enjoy for years to come. And they're, most of them are pretty family friendly, which is great. So like, I know they have a following, and they have people that have been following those, fans of those type of movies. And I love that. I think it's great. There's no harm in that. I do, I'll do both. I like to do the serious stuff. of course, but once in a while, why not? You know, it's just, you can't take it all too seriously. So for me, it's really fun.
Yeah, that's what I say too. You know, you see some actors, and you know, thought they get tied to a certain role. You know, it's like, oh yeah, it's a heavy hit, it's a heavy drama. So that's what we're gonna get. We're gonna get that. We're gonna go out there and get Leonardo for that or whatnot. And you know, I think they just seem like, you know, they you almost get typecast into doing those massive movies where you have to, you know, there's so much responsibility on your shoulders, you know, as far as like, oh my God, you know, it's $100 million movie and they're counting on me to open it and to carry it. Whereas when you do a fun lower budget movie, you know, it's more of I mean, it's sort of more relaxed, sort of more, we're having fun. We're going to create something that the fans are going to love. People are going to, you know, they're going to say, hell yes, John Mack's got a new one out there. I'm so in. Oh, that would be me. That'd be me talking because that's exactly what I say. Um, you think I'm kidding? I'm not. I know because, you know, because see, I remember that movie, Death Worm, because Victoria Pratt was in it.
Yeah, yeah, and Sean Patrick Flannery.
John Patrick Flannery, and we have talked about them on this show as well.
Yeah.
I hadn't had either one of them on yet, but we talked about their movies, and I've had Kieran Klisch on from Mutant X.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And so yeah, so we love those type of movies. Do you get a lot of fan mail? Do you get a lot of fan mail about these movies that you do?
Sometimes I do, and it's like from unexpected places. You know, just I recently got something from somebody from Czech Republic, and I'm like, oh, I guess they played it there. You know, and places that you wouldn't expect, Turkey. You know, but it's really cool to me because I have no idea where they show some of these films, but they do, and there's fans all over the world that like it. So I'm always like pleasantly surprised to see where they end up.
What movie what movie did he ask you about?
Which one?
The fan from Czechoslovakia.
Oh, he just said he'd been following my films for a long time. From everything from from Mandrake to all those Fire Twister, like a lot of those sci-fi ones. I think I did Dino Croc versus Super Gator with and actually I was funny because that was many years ago, but I was one of the last actors to work with the great David Carradine. So that was
Right,
David's
that's
last film.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's
was
right.
David's.
That's right. Um, uh, uh, See, yeah, I saw that. I miss the Sci-Fi Channel.
I
I
know.
do.
I know.
I miss it because they have some of the fun movies come out there, and every Saturday night, the most dangerous night on TV. Um, do people send you? Do they send, you know, movies into you or pictures into you for you to sign and send it out?
Sometimes, yeah, I get that sometimes, or just asking for a photo. And I need to get some nice little stills of the favorites, I guess you could say that, because I do love signing those, like from any film that people like, the particular ones which are kind of more out there.
Which one of your films you think has the most popular?
Gosh, that's hard to say. I mean, popularity wise, because I've done like I did Saw 6, but I just had a small part in that. But that was such a popular film because it's a
People love it. Yeah, that's what I mean. That right there will punch you into the convention circuit. Oh
yeah.
my God, yes. Oh, and you oh, you know what? I can't wait. In fact, I'm going to already say this already, but I want you to come back after you do your first convention.
Oh yeah.
I want to hear how your experience, because and do yourself a favor, bring a camera or a friend to film it
Mhm.
because you're gonna have so much fun.
Oh, I can't
Oh
wait.
my God, you're gonna have so much fun, and I mean, you're gonna be surprised with too what people ask you to sign, and have physical media. And,
Hmm.
and let me ask you that because I know someone will already ask me that. But do you have a film extensive film collection yourself at
I do.
home?
Yes, yes, I do.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What do you like watching?
What's that?
What do you like watching? What's like if we went over and saw your film library right now, what would we see there?
Well, a lot of Kubrick. I mean, because I grew up watching Kubrick. I love all of his films. I have all of his films. Tarantino. Gosh, I mean, all the greats, Scorsese, all of that. But then I also have some some strange, sci-fi type of films, and a lot of the stuff that was like more, I guess you could say indie films that are more like Academy Awards type of friendly films. So I have a lot of that. Paul Thomas Anderson films, all Darren Aronofsky, like a lot of that stuff. Like, yeah, so many diverse titles. But I love Luc Besson. I have all of his films. So yeah, it's all across the board.
Do you have movie nights at your house, or your friends? Do you ever have, huh?
I have before, yeah. And actually, now that it's summertime now, and it's a good time to do that. So I used to do it quite a bit, and I love movie nights. I absolutely love it.
Um, is it hard? I mean, how hard is it for you to get into your characters? I mean, is it just depending on the script for you? Is it depending on the subject matter? I mean, what does it take for you to get inside your character?
Um, for me, it's getting a grasp of who they are, reading the script and really taking it in, reading it a few times, and comprehending it, and understanding, who they are, what drives them, what motivates them, and then finding that within myself to connect with. And I think then I just start to feel it out. It starts to grow in me, and I kind of get a sense of who this character is and who this person is. So I think with the script, it helps to read the script over and over and see different parts, different ways, different character, moments. And that to me is the first thing. But then after that, I think getting the physicality of the character is also important. Like, what would they wear? What would, how they do their hair, things like that kind of all come together.
Yeah, you're very athletic. You're very athletic. I mean, your roles have always been, you're always moving. You're always on the move. You're running or fighting or out trying to outrun a fire tornado.
Yeah.
So,
Sometimes not so successfully.
yeah. I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute, but I just want to mention that our good friend Echo said he just watched Dino Croc versus Super Gator yesterday. He's going to be reviewing it.
Very cool. Very cool.
That is very cool. Yes. So one of the things that me and Elise we talked about that we didn't realize is that she says that she dies a lot in her films. She, she's like the female Sean Bean.
Oh, that's cool. That's great. That's hysterical.
You've had a couple of movies where you've haven't made it out to the end.
Yes.
A couple. What's it like for you to prepare for a death scene, especially in a fun movie like Super Gator versus Dino Croc?
Yeah, well, every death scene's different, which is kind of interesting. I mean, I have been shot a couple times, but there was one Mandrake, I was eaten by a tree. So it was kind of like, I always laugh about that. I was like, yeah, I was actually eaten by a tree. To explain that. But it was when we shot it, it was funny because they did a one bloody version first and they didn't use it. So I had to have a bucket of the blood, the fake blood, dumped over me, covered it entirely, and went through all that. And then they used the clean version for TV. So the process is, I mean, to me, it's just fun. It's kind of like, obviously, you only get once in real life to have that exit, but as an actor, you kind of get to play with that idea, like, oh, I've died many times, and it becomes a kind of a joke. But yeah, I think that's funny what Elise said, because we've all had some weird, strange deaths in different films, and every time it's different. So it's to me, it's the character. But my mother used to not like watching me die on screen.
I'll tell you the truth, John. A lot of parents are like that. We've talked to a few people on here, and they said the same thing.
Yeah.
They don't like the death scenes or scenes with violence. A couple of times it was like one actor. One actor said that she didn't realize it was too late that her father was watching her do a sex scene.
Oh my
and
God.
her father's like looking at her and then looking at that, and it's like, one of those type deals, like, really?
That's so uncomfortable.
Yeah. But what's been your three favorite death scenes?
I will count Mandrake up there with being eaten by the tree. I think that was pretty cool. I just shot a really cool death scene, which I can't talk about yet, but when I talk about that film, that will be in there as well. And I'm trying to think what other really cool death scene have I had? I mean, Fire Twister was kind of wacky. That was fun when I did get sucked up in the tornado. And they had me on a hoisting on a green screen, and they pulled me right up there, and it was very comical, crazy death scene. So I think that one tops it for like craziness, getting sucked up by a fire tornado, pretty much. Yeah.
Right, right. Yeah, because Casper was in that one, and yeah. So I mean, that's gonna be sort of, is that hard to shoot against green screen? I've seen actors comment about, they do the Marvel movies or the Star Wars movies, and a lot of actors just say, they're sort of like, because they're acting against a green screen. There's nothing there for them. There's nothing, nobody can give them anything, and they're expected to act against maybe a tennis ball. Like, okay, this is where your scene partner is going to be at right here, a tennis ball.
Yeah.
Um, is that hard doing the green screen acting versus human acting?
I think it can be more challenging because, yeah, like you said, there's no stimulus there. Everything's in here. So you really have to spatially show up. I mean, because the whole room is green sometimes. And so you have to kind of put things places and make it all up in your mind. So I mean, that's always challenging. I like traditional sets. I'm kind of old school that way because I've worked both. I still love being on a set where they build it. You have the room you walk into, you know what I mean? It's more visceral because it's there. But I mean, green screen, it's just more of a challenge because you literally have to have the whole thing visually in here, and you're still not sure how the post-production is going to make it work. So you just have a like kind of an indication in your head of what that world is going to look like. So it can be challenging that way because sometimes you have to place things different place. You have to keep your emotion there, obviously, when you're connecting with that, because it can be a tennis ball sometimes, or literally can be a green X or something that you're having to react to.
Yeah, that's gotta be. I guess sometimes. Let's see. Go back to the chat here. Oh, people are at. Yep. See, people are commenting here. Let's see. This is fun. This is fun. Oh, are you having fun yet?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Totally.
good.
Yeah.
I hope this is not your normal interview where everybody's
I
coming
love it. This is
with
great.
yeah. This is a improvise.
I love
Uh,
it.
let's see. People are commenting about Super Gator still. Let's see. Jim Warnowski,
Hmm.
under the name of Jay Andrews, directed it, and Roger Corman was a producer for Dinah Croc versus Super Gator. That's right. I remember that. I knew about this filming the two scenes, one for the Sci-Fi Channel and
Yeah.
then one for the European market, because they sometimes got girls doing things. Um, let's see. Steven's saying that, let's see. North says horror fans are so much fun. Uh, do you find horror fans being your favorite type of fans? I mean, are they your favorite fans?
I have to say, I love horror fans, and I think they are because they're so excited. They love the genre. They're so enthusiastic and supportive and loyal. And I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that about horror fans because they're all in. And I'm a horror fan too, so I get it. Like I geek out on this stuff. So I love that because it's a very loving community. And people who don't know that wouldn't know that, but it really is. You have the most amazing people that are lifelong fans, and they'll go to the ends of the earth to support you and see you. And I think they're wonderful. I love the horror fans. They're really great.
I love them too. I'm a horror fan myself. I mean, you're right. The loving community, the bonds and everything else. I mean, except if someone walked up to me and said Hereditary was good, then we might have a problem. Um, but that's just throwing that out there. The people expect me to say it, so I said it. So let's see. Steven's saying that he can see you in a Fulci film.
Oh, I would love that. Oh my God.
Yeah, you're a horror fan then. So
Yeah.
did you see The Beyond?
The Beyond. What is that something? Is that
Yeah.
Fulci?
Yes.
Oh, I
The
haven't seen that
basement,
one. No.
with the basement, and they go down to the basement, and they're trapped in purgatory.
Oh my God, I have to watch it. Yeah, because I love Fulci. I love zombie. Yeah, so much. Oh my gosh, I have to see.
It's one of the best horror endings in any horror film. That is
it.
so damn disturbing.
Oh
It,
my God.
man, it's years, and you watch that, and it's just like he did the trilogy. He did The House by the Cemetery. That
Mhm.
one was very good. But the City of the Dead or the Gates of Hell with Christopher George, that was good.
Yeah.
And the weird ending though, ending's weird because Fulci was going to put a happy ending on it, and then the studio said, "Could you not do that?" And
Oh,
then the ending just comes out looking goofy. But
right.
the beyond, what
Yeah.
what mov- what movies have scared you?
Oh man, I mean, yeah, okay, anything psychological. Like I love. I mean, okay, scared me isn't so much, but I've always been in love with the giallo and that type of directing, and I love Argento. I mean, they psychologically mess it. They're so beautiful, but I don't know if it's scaring is the right word, but like fascinated me. Like they're dark and they're interesting. And I remember seeing, like, obviously, like most kids, I saw Jaws when I was a little girl, and that scared me a little bit. You know, the whole they don't show the creature, which actually it's very smart. It worked so well, like psychologically, it did that. It made people afraid of the water. So that scared me. But I was a little kid. But I think more. I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street. I saw that when I was a little kid. That scared me too. The first one.
The
It's
first one
it's
definitely.
brilliant. It's even now I watch it. It's still creepy. You know,
It
the shot
is.
of Robert Englund with his arms, the long arms, like down like that alleyway, you know, just oh my God, just those visuals are like, wow.
The first one's the best one.
The first one's amazing. The first one's like I can enjoy the other ones as fun, but the first one to me is a masterpiece.
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah, it's a
agree.
masterpiece.
I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, I some of the movies that you say you like supernatural stuff too. So do you watch supernatural horror?
I do. I do. I love it.
That,
Phantasm is another one I saw when I was a little kid. My dad had it, and I love it. I still love Phantasm.
man, I got scared on that one.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
freaked
scared
me
the hell
out.
out of me.
When I was a kid, that freaked me out, like watching that.
I was a kid. I'm an old man. But when I watched that, I got scared. I watched it on network TV with
Nice.
commercials and everything, and I had all the lights turned off. By the
Yeah.
time it ended, I had all the lights turned off.
It's still a creepy movie, even if you watch it to this day. It's got a eerie. It's just I love it. I think it's a brilliant film, like just so out there. But I love
Uh,
supernatural horror for sure.
okay, good. Because I was gonna say, if you love supernatural horror, I do got a couple movies I'll recommend to you.
Oh yes, please.
Let's see. Let's see. Let's go back here. Catch up with the chat. We got a question from Steven. He want. Echo mentions, what was it like working on Spider? Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Spider was really fun. We shot Spider in Bulgaria in the middle of winter, so it was freezing cold. But it was really Sydney Sweeney's in that, and so is Pat from Starship Troopers. Pat's in it, so it
Yeah.
was amazing. We were all in the middle of winter in Bulgaria, and it was like right at the New Boyana Studios, which is a full. It's like a mini, you know, Paramount. It's basically there, and they have full cities there. So it was incredible. I mean, it was really cool. I really, yeah, it was a great experience. I mean, I loved that film. It was cool.
Uh,
Turned out really well. I think I like that one a lot.
Now you worked with Patrick McDoon and Casper Van Dien.
Yeah,
Uh, have
yeah.
you worked with Denise Richards or Dina Meyer?
Not yet. No, not yet.
And you got to get Jake Busey in there too. So you
Yes.
get
Yeah. No, not yet. Not Jake either. I mean, I would love to work with all of them. I think Jake's great. He's done so many cool
Jake.
films.
Jake is underrated. He
Yeah, he
really
really
is.
is. He plays
Uh,
such a great villain. He's such a great villain. I mean, perfect.
yeah, he can play. He can actually do the good guy thing pretty well too. Though I saw him do a movie called Cross Wars or Cross, and he was really good in that.
Yes.
Let's see. Steven wants to know. Echo. I can hurt your feelings now, but I'm not going to. King over Wolf Island. Um, so Steven mentions, what was it like working with Brian Krause?
Brian is great. We originally did Camel Spiders together. I don't know if you ever saw Camel Spiders. That was a
Oh,
Jim Wynorski film, another Jim Wynorski film,
yeah.
another spider film. So I think I've done like 3 spider films for some reason. I have
But
spider.
is that one of those cases? Is that one of those cases, or did they bring in practical for that? They
No
is that all?
practical. Yeah, that was all special
Yeah.
effects afterwards. But that was really fun. That we shot that in Lone Pine, and it was C. Thomas Howell, Brian Krause. We had a pretty good cast. Matt Borlani played my husband, and that was really fun. It was, again, middle of winter in Lone Pine, and yeah, I mean that one. Brian and I became friends, and then after that, Brian very kindly was in my music video. He did me a favor and acted in my music video for my band Auradrone back in 2012. We did a video with him and Robert Lasardo, which was really cool. Yeah, both
Now,
great.
now, is your band still active?
Right now, it's basically me. It's always been me that I work with different musicians at different times, and I collaborate with people. And it's kind of a collective. And right now, I'm working on new tracks. Right now, I took a little break to focus more on film stuff because I had so many projects consecutively. So now, once I'm finished with the post on my film, I'm gonna get back in the studio and finish some tracks I had started.
Are you surprised at how in demand you are? People, we love you. I
Oh,
mean, the
thank
movie that yeah, we love you. I
you.
mean, I get excited, when I see one of your movies come out. I get like, hell yeah,
Oh,
it's a good day.
thank you. I'm
Um,
hearing that. Thank you so much. No,
uh,
I,
uh,
I love hearing that. That makes me so happy. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it because we put a lot of love into it. So when I hear that you guys enjoy it, that just puts me over the moon. That makes it so rewarding because I want to entertain people. That I love entertaining people. I love all of that. And films are such a beautiful. You can learn from them. You can escape with them. You can it's another world. So I love hearing that people are enjoying what I do because
Oh,
that's
I was thrilled to death when we got this, and I want to take this moment to say thank you to Stephen Chang for
yeah.
helping making this happen. That was just a very cool thing that he did, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's see. Let's see. I'll go up here. Let's see. Yes, it was Stephen. Yeah, well, it was a jab at me. He says Hallmark fans lose their right to call themselves horror fans.
Ha!
Mhm. Right,
That's
I'll deal with that on my own. Did you like The Shining?
I love The Shining. Again, I'm a huge Kubrick fan, so I watch The Shining every year around Halloween at least twice because every time I watch that film, I see something different in it, and I pick up a little thing that Kubrick put in. He was such a master of that, like putting little hidden gems in his films that really make you think and double meanings and things. And everything he did was so methodical. He's one of those directors. He had just a method to his madness. Everything he shot, was very, very put together, very thought out. And I think The Shining is so brilliant. I mean, Jack Nicholson, my God, and even Shelley Duvall's performances were just beyond. It's just
It,
beautiful.
there seems to be a little bit of a pushback on Kubrick's career now because of the some of the stuff that he did, like the 137 takes with Shelley Duvall
Yeah,
and the entire shoot.
yeah,
Some people have actually come out and been quoted as basically blaming him for ruining Shelley Duvall. Ruined her not
yeah,
only her career but her life.
yeah.
And they sort of like they do you feel do you think that's justified, or do you think that he would have did the same thing today, or you think that because back when that movie was made, it was different,
Oh,
different time, different different way of doing things.
yeah.
Do you think he would have? Do you think if he would have, he would be a good director in today's world with how everything is, or you think he would struggle?
I think it would be harder for him now because, like you said, the world's changed. And, I mean, I agree that I think some of the things that I heard that he had done, is in regards to her was just a bit excessive. I know he was going for something specific and he was one of those directors. He had the vision. But I think nowadays you couldn't do that. I think with the climate of everything now and, a lot of actors, we're more protected now as far as that goes, with that sort of thing. Like, you can't get away with that now. I think if you're a union actor, the union would be all over the production because we have the do not work. We get those notices in SAG. So unfortunately, I think he would have been one of those directors who probably would have been reported, for abuse
What,
and things on his
what does
set.
that mean? Do not work? Does that mean like the SAG says like if you
Yeah.
get an offer from a certain director, you don't work for him?
Yeah, they warn you against. Yeah, I don't know if they penalize you, but they put out a notice to all the members who do not work or do not work for, if there was, harassment or whatever on the set. They put a notice out to everyone.
Now, how's that work? If a director, now that work, does that extend to actors as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it has. It actually has. There's been a couple of TV shows, I think, that happened with, unfortunately, because one of the lead actors was harassing. So, and I think some of the actors come out years later, and I think that affected the actor's career.
I'm actually thinking Criminal Mind, that they lost their lead actor.
Yeah.
He ended up kicking somebody in the leg.
Yes.
Lost his job for that. Have you ever gotten a notice? I didn't know this, but I didn't know that existed. Now, have you ever gotten a notice based on a project you were heading into where they said,
luckily, no. Yeah, I'm glad I haven't. I mean, I've dealt with moments on set where, you have to kind of stand up for yourself in certain regards. That was early on in my career, though, too, where I was hired to do something, and then they're like telling me suddenly there's nudity, and I was like, well, I didn't sign on to do that, and nobody was there to protect me, so I kind of had to take the lead actor aside, and I did, and everything worked out well because I nicely, stated my purpose and my point of, I'm not going to do this. I'm not comfortable with it. So luckily that worked out for me. I wasn't harassed too badly, but I've heard horror stories over the years, of course.
Yeah, you never, even though we talked about Jim Wynorski, he's, him and Fred Olen Ray that's their calling cards is nudity in their movies, but you have never done a nude scene in your career yet or ever. Yeah, it's sort of weird when you see those guys' names. It's sort of like, like instead of being like creature features, the first thing you think of is, their movies are always a little bit spicy, or they'll put the girls in bikinis. It's like, for the Sci-Fi Channel, and you sort of like, do you have to do that every movie? Okay, I guess that's what they do. Okay, House by the Cemetery is a good scary Fulci movie. Okay, opinion of one there. I just didn't like it. We covered it. We did a deep dive on it. It was the weakest one of his trilogy. Shadow is the title. Let's see. North says he reads Starship Trooper novels. That's a good thing to know. I didn't know they had novels. Let's see. Brian is awesome. He was at Spooky Empire at the convention down in Florida.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, music. Okay, music videos. People. Yeah, you shot music videos too, right?
Yes.
Now, how did you get involved with the music? I mean, was that something that came with you when you were growing up, or is this something you developed in New York, or?
It's music is something I did. I kind of just started making music as a kid on my own. It was just a natural interest in singing and learning instruments and things, guitar and whatnot. And both my parents, neither one of them are musicians, so I kind of just always loved music. And I think it was like always, from the time I was also a kid, I was doing dance lessons and this and that. So I think music just kind of came along with it, but I didn't realize it was like a huge passion for me until pretty much I came out to LA. I mean, like I was focused more on theater and things in New York. I had a band in Michigan that I sang backup for when I was like 14 or 15. Like that was my first thing. And I was always in like choirs and choruses and things like that. But when I really started to delve into songwriting and recording and performing was when I came out to LA. And I started with my first band, which was called Acid Betty, which is kind of a crazy name, but it was my first band here in LA.
Was it a punk rock band?
It was kind of, like an edgy alternative, like that vibe, that raw female.
Did you guys ever put out anything? Did you ever put out a record?
We I don't know, we never put out a record. We had recordings, which the gentleman that I was writing with, he has the masters. I was supposed to hear them because I haven't heard them in years. But then I have another band called Organic after that. We did put out recordings. And Auradrone also has put out recordings. So I put out recordings with two of my projects I worked with.
Okay. And if some of the fans here wanted to order some music, how would we go about getting your music?
Spotify, iTunes. I think it's pretty much available everywhere because I'm through CD Baby. So, and they can even go through my website, my fan site, which is Jon Mack official Jon Mack.com. and just drop me a line. I have CDs for sale. I have to put them up there, but I have the first and second CD from Auradrone that I have hard copies. I don't know if anybody has hard copies anymore, but if they prefer that, I have those as well.
Okay. We'll put that in the description box for the after the interview is over with. So if
Perfect.
somebody wants to go over and check it out, and you can check out her music at the usual suspects, streaming wise. The Auradrone, right? AUR drone.
AURA drone, aura, like human aura drone. Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see. It was some other. Okay. Weapons of choice. Okay. Um, yeah, that must be another one of your films, Weapons of Choice.
Music video.
Oh, music
Yeah.
video.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
can say, yeah, I don't think I remember that movie.
That was that was the one I co-directed that with Michael Sarna, who directed, oh my God, the one I'm forgetting all the names now. The one you mentioned with Gina Holden, I did. LA, it's about the earthquake.
Okay. Oh,
Apocalypse.
Gina Holden.
They had two different names for it, which is why I get confused sometimes. Because in Europe it was called something else. So but anyway, he worked with me on one of that video particularly, which had a big message against poaching. So it's got a very Saw-like horror vibe. You might like it. It's very raw and bloody, and we shot it with some really amazing actresses. And special effects, makeup, and everything. But that was Michael Sarna who directed that with me.
Now, hey, here's a question I ask you. I have it in the scroll down below. I listed the Amityville murders. Amityville has had a lot of movies made about it.
Yeah.
I mean, and you acted, and you took a role in the movie. When you take some movie roles, do you ever second guess yourself on it? Like, Amityville has been so, they made Amityville, anything you could think of attaching Amityville to, they do. Amityville Shark, Amityville in Space, Amityville Killer Donuts,
Yes.
Halloween and Amityville or whatever. Do you think people had just totally forgotten, or if you can remember this, did people talk about what happened in Amityville, or is it just another job? I just feel like, people died, and it's like it's sort of I don't know, sort of different when you see all these Amityville movies, and
Yes.
they tend to forget that the people were died because of it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I understand. And it's interesting because the one that we did was actually the kind of an origin story in a way, because it was about the original family that lived there that happened to. It showed the whole thing about how the son became, I guess, possessed or whatever happened with him. They played it as a supernatural. The way the script was written was that it was like very much a supernatural occurrence. And it's no, I did a lot of research on that one when I when I got that role. I was just so fascinated with that story and like, how could this happen? And it was such a shocking thing, because at that time, it was like, I think like 70s, like early 70s or so, when that happened. We hadn't had that in this country, like some mass murder of a family like that. And
Yeah.
it was also investigated by the Warrens. That was a very famous case that was investigated by the Warrens. And I did a lot of deep diving into that. It was just such an interesting and tragic, horrible story. I mean, just so. And I think Butch he's on death row, I believe, the son.
Oh, yeah, he's still alive. He's still with us.
Yeah. And if you
Uh,
see him interviewed, it's just like, wow, it's
yeah, I've heard people say that. People say that they'll talk to him, he'll be perfectly normal, and then right, hear guards or people visit him, and they'll say, well, sounds perfectly normal till right till the end, and then he'll say something totally off the wall, and it's like, oh yeah, he's nutty. Yeah. Um, so what's next? What's next for you? I mean, I guess taken from Rio Bravo is gonna probably be coming out pretty soon, right?
I'm so excited. I'm so excited for that one.
I'm excited too. I am, because I saw the first one. I know the star of that movie, Alexander Novinsky.
Alex, yeah, he's a friend. I love Alex. Yeah, yeah,
Alex, he's got some skills. I really enjoyed watching him.
yes,
He did a movie with with Casper and Cynthia
yep.
called Throw Down in Manila.
I remember that one. And Mark Descanso, I think it's how you say his name. I was.
Yeah, the Iron Chef, the chairman of of the Iron Chef.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
yeah.
That's a fun film. I went to the premiere of that. I remember seeing that, and it was funny seeing because I'd already worked with Casper, and I knew Alex, so it was funny seeing them together as like kind of a team in that film. I was like, wow, this is
That was
cool.
a really good movie because Casper got to play a really humorous part. You know,
Yes, which is great.
he got to be the he you know Alex was the straight man, and
Yes,
like Casper got to be throw down the jokes. And
it's
what was it like? My last question to you, I know I have so many more, but my last question is, what was it like working with Cynthia Rothrock?
I did not get to work with Cynthia, unfortunately. Our parts shot on different times of the film. She's in the beginning of the film, and I'm sort of in the middle. So unfortunately, I didn't get to meet or work with her yet. But I would love to because I've heard such great things about her, and we have so many people in common. Like literally, we worked like this far from each other. So she's a legend. So of course, I would love to work with her.
But you are a legend too, though.
Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you.
Yes, hell yes. Oh yes. I could sit here and do this for another 2 hours, but I'm not. Um, no, I know. I'm gonna save my other questions. I have many. I'm gonna save them. And we're gonna stay in touch. 'Cause we're friends. That's right, we're friends. And then when you do your first convention, you'll come back and talk to us about it.
Oh, for sure.
By that time, you have your other movies out as well.
Yes.
Including
Yeah,
your,
yeah, I'm
um,
super excited.
all right, boys and girls. Let's see. Stephen has one question for you, and then we'll let oh, Ronald DeFeo Jr. died a couple of years ago. Oh, I thought he was dead.
Oh,
Okay,
wow. Okay,
no.
so he did pass away. Interesting.
Huh.
Yeah, when we shot the film, he was still alive. I remember that. It was about, I think we shot like 6 years ago, 5 years ago. So that.
So I'm sure that Ronald and Pat Robertson are probably down there talking. Um,
Oh man.
oh, I hear Halloween's your favorite holiday. Is there any truth to that rumor?
It is. It is. I do a big a big haunted display every year. That is my holiday. It's right around my birthday, so I kind of combine the two, and I do a giant haunted house at my place, and I love Halloween. I go nuts. It's so much fun for me. In fact, I kind of call it Halloween season because I start decorating in July, like the end of July. I start putting.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, you were even out doing the king of Halloween. Our good friend Hobbs Horror, who hasn't popped in yet, but
Nice.
on October he does what he calls the spectacular,
Oh, I
and
love
he is celebrating Halloween all every day in October.
it.
Um, and then Steven has one last question, and then for sure we'll get this out of the way here. Does John have a favorite screen queen that she's worked with?
Oh my gosh. A favorite Scream. You know what? I know I guess she's kind of, well, Stephen and I both love her. Betsy Russell. I worked with Betsy on Saw, and Betsy was we became friends, and she's wonderful. So I thought she was so great as Jill Tuck. Like to me, she was one of the classic Scream queens in that
You know,
role.
it's funny back in the '80s when Fast Times at Ridgemont High came out, right? And
Yeah.
so everybody was going Google over Phoebe Cates, right?
Oh
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I always thought Betsy Russell was the girl for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Still
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. She still is.
She is. She really is. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
all right. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for coming out, John. I really do appreciate it, Jon Marie. I really do appreciate it. I love your middle name, Jon Marie. That sounds really cool.
Thank you.
Do you go by Jon Marie, or do you go by Jon Marie when you're not working, and then
Yeah.
when you do? Okay.
My friends
Um,
call me Jean or Jean Marie, whichever they prefer. I love Jean Marie because it's my mother named me, Jean Marie. So my friends usually call me Jean Marie, and I love that. So you're welcome to call me Jean Marie.
is John short for like is it short for a name?
It's actually French. My birth name was spelled the French way, but in America people don't pronounce it correctly. So Jon became kind of a shortened version of it. And it worked really well, especially when I was doing the band thing with music, because it was kind of like more of a tomboy name, and people would pronounce it correctly, and it just kind of stuck. Everybody was like, "Oh, that works." It's easy to spell, easy to pronounce. I don't have to correct people too much, so yeah, it came from that. But it's a French name, Jean Marie.
Oh, sweet. Thank you. Thank you for explaining that. And thank you for letting me call you Jon Marie. I appreciate that. I want to say thank you for coming and hanging out with us. To the chat, you guys are a lot of fun tonight, as you guys always are. Thank you for coming out and showing support for this. And of course, you can go ahead and I'll put all of Jon Marie's information in the description box. So you can go over there and follow her on Instagram and go listen to her band on Spotify and whatnot. Check out her official website. Um, we will be back here Sunday at 1 p.m. I'll be joined by a special co-host, film director Amina Hatri from the Great Britain, and her and I, maybe a special guest from the Friendly Men. We'll see. But we'll be talking to film director Yui Bowl. Will be here with us, Dr. Yui Bowl, at 1 p.m. on Sunday. So that's gonna be a lot of fun too. Uh, I like his movies. His movies are fun. Um, he seems like a really nice guy too. So that would be on Sunday at 1 p.m. And of course on the 20th, we'll have filmmaker Andrew Jarr will be with us at 8 o'clock, and we'll be talking about his new movie called The Empty Space. That's it. Stay right where you're at for 1 second, John. And to the chat, I'm going to say good night. Thank you, and we'll see you Sunday. Peace.